Getting connected to the YouTube really quick. We're about to get started. What's up, Mike? Let me get set up on this YouTube real quick and then get started. Let's see. I think we're live. Nice. So, guys, we're about to get started here. Fix my camera. I had to move my office, but it's gonna be pretty dope. Look at my eyebrows. How do I fix it? No, that's stupid. Let's see. Oh my gosh, dude. What the heck? How do you turn this shit off? Okay. That was nuts. You see that, Mike? Did you see that? You're chat in the box. Chat chat in the box, Mike. If you have any questions, nice. I'm gonna share my screen really quick and then we'll get started. Let's see. We're gonna start here. So if you've seen my other webinars, so this we're doing a 4 week series, and so basically every Wednesday at 6:30, I'm gonna come on and I'm gonna go deeper into the subject, and also too it gives you time to ask any questions. So if you have any questions, you can post them in the YouTube because this is getting recorded on YouTube, so you can put any questions, and then we'll kind of just build off that. And I found this to be very useful because uh, it allows people to grow with the content. If you watch something one time, if you watch something one time, you might not really get the information. But if you watch it consistently for a couple of weeks, it actually starts to sprout some greater knowledge on the information that I'm sharing. So just a little bit about myself. I was born in Bay City, Texas. It's about I want to say it's about like 2 hours away from Houston. Small little town. I think population is like maybe 30,000. Small little town. I lived there with my mom, my dad, my sister, and my brother. And at the age of 3, 4 ish, my dad took his life in our backyard. And that next week, my mom just packed up our stuff and we moved out. We moved to Corpus, and so she moved us to Corpus because she had family here. Her sisters were here, and so quickly, like I got into the school system. I was in a different environment, and so I didn't really know anybody. I wasn't familiar with the environment, and so I just had like a very hard growing up from elementary. Uh, pretty much my whole life till I had kids, because of the fact that I was trying to adapt to this different environment, and I really didn't feel I had a place, or I really didn't know where I belonged. And I believe what caused that was at a very young age, I got labeled, and so when I was in school at a very young age, I quickly got labeled as like the kid without the dad, the kid that doesn't have no guidance, the kid that the single mom kid, the kid that doesn't pay attention, the kid that doesn't listen, the kid that's slow, the kid that came from a small town that didn't have an educational system that was very good. And so I got stuck with all these labels. And so what I didn't know at the time was, and this is very powerful to know as a parent. And And I can share a situation where I actually encountered something that was very, very similar to this, and I stopped it on its tracks. But teachers teachers have a big influence on kids, and there's some great teachers out there, and there's some teachers that are just going through life, and they go through the same problems as a lot of people that are dysfunctional. Dysfunctional, is that a word? But dysfunction or whatever, right? That are screwed up. And so these teachers, they're very uh, verbal. I mean, they share their thoughts, because they have an authority uh, title, and so they label kids at a young age. And if kids aren't aware, if kids are ignorant, I was very ignorant when I was growing up. So I let that label stuck with me. I thought that's what I was. I thought that's who was going to be. This kid that wasn't able to accomplish much because of his situation growing up. And so what happened was I allowed that label to stick with me, going through elementary, going through middle school, all the way up to high school. I was stuck with that label, and I didn't know till I got much older that you can actually relabel yourself. You can decide really who you want to be, and that's kind of one of the reasons why. Um, they always ask kids like, "What do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to be?" Right? And kind of what sucks is like they don't really give them all the options. They only say like, "What do you want to be? A doctor? Do you want to be a lawyer? Do you want to be?" They kind of give them these kind of basic ones, or kind of, but there's so many things that kids can do nowadays that if we let them know that it's unlimited to the things they can achieve, and we label them as that, they can accomplish some great things. So I learned at a young age that I was able to reprogram myself, and just because of my environment, I was able to relabel myself, and I was actually able to change my environment. And so during that process, I got involved with the body shop industry, collision shop. I learned how to do custom painting. I learned how to do auto body work, painting, uh, running a shop, and I actually progressed from a technician to an owner. And it's been a growing process. But during that growth, I've had the opportunity of being coached by some of the best people, and I'll give you a list of these people because I don't want to leave anybody out. My notes here. I'll leave the chat box open if y'all have any questions on that. So one of my first coaches was T. Bowman. He was a CPA, and he was about to go into retirement right when I met him. But he actually gave me the opportunity to share my vision with him, and we actually, made a book of my vision and a strategy, some action steps to help me achieve that vision. Uh, you know, T. Bowman, Kay Wakeman, Michael Coffey, Coach Burt, uh, Tim Story, Brian Tracy. I've had the opportunity of talking one on one with Elena Cardone, Sofia Castro, Rafael Vargas, a lot of world class people that I've had the opportunity to pick their brain. And some of these people, you can't just call them on the phone. You really have to go through like this vetting process, and it takes time. And they really want to know who you are and what you're about. And a lot of times, they even do like a background check on you. And I've met a couple of mentors of mine that are really really famous, and they've said, "Hey, you know what? I had my team kind of do some research on you to kind of see what you're about, to see if you really want to talk about business, or if you're really serious about your life." And that was pretty impressive to know that they went as far as like checking my background and checking who I was as a person, to really vet me to get that information. And I'm very thankful for that information. And I've made a commitment like that because I was able to get this information, that I'm going to help other people that wouldn't have access to that information, that are worthy of it, that will appreciate it, that will take what I give them and actually apply it, and make something of it. Because the crazy thing about it is, it doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take a lot of information to make a difference. Like it just takes, it could take one word, a quote, one strategy, and that one thing will activate something in you that you would have never been able to activate if you would not been around the content or exposed to the information. But let's get started here. So we're going to talk about health and wealth. And whenever I say health and wealth, most people want to focus just on the wealth, and they kind of neglect the health. And I'm telling you right now, like health is going to be way more important than wealth. If you've asked anybody on their deathbed that had a lot of money, what they would want more right now, and they would want more time. They would want more life to live, and they will pay anything for it. So how do we get into the mindset of protecting that? And so I'm going to start off with the wealth. And if you've seen my other webinars, I've shared some of this, but I haven't really gone into detail about it. Right. So this is a building strategy that we have. Hold on, let me see. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. So let's start right here with the wealth building strategy. And so this strategy is actually a pretty good basic breakdown of kind of the levels of where you need to be at to start building some wealth. And so the best way I can describe, like, see, a lot of people say, "What's your net worth?" And so the best way to describe your net worth or to find your net worth is to let me see if I can turn the highlighter on here. Highlighter. Let me see. Laser pencil. Okay, the best way to discover your net worth is to, let's just say you had to sell everything that you own by tomorrow, and remember, like, whatever you bought stuff for, you can't really sell it for what you bought it for. If you bought a brand new vehicle 2 years ago for $10,000, it's going to be very hard to sell that vehicle for $10,000, unless it's like a classic or it's like a rare vehicle. But if it's a common vehicle that you use for daily driver and you bought it for 10,000 retail, it's going to be very hard to sell it for that same amount. So let's just be realistic, right? If you paid 10,000 for that car and you had to sell it tomorrow because you had to leave the country, how much would you be able to sell it for, right? Maybe 5 grand, maybe four, because you need to hurry up and sell it. So this hold on. Just be realistic with your stuff. Think about everything that you own and say, man, if I had to sell this tomorrow because I needed to leave the country, how much would I be able to get for it, right? And so basically what you do is you calculate. Let me see if I can write on this. You'll calculate everything that you sold. Let's just say, for example, I'm gonna use simple math here, right? Let's just say let's just say 100,000, right? Let's just say you sold everything you got and you got 100K, right? But because you have credit cards and you have, you know, stuff, bills you got to pay, you have 50 grand in debt. Okay. This is debt. Okay. So what you'll do is you'll get the 100, take away the 50. That leaves you with 50K net worth. Okay. Some people are upside down. Some people, if they sell everything, they can get 50 grand, but they owe 100,000 because they have a house payment, they have all this stuff. So their actually net worth is negative 50,000. So that's how you determine your net worth. And the, stop with this is a good exercise. If you stop and find your net worth and you kind of do some calculating, you're gonna realize that a lot of the shit that you have is not really that valuable, and it's gonna make you kind of look at things different, and it's gonna make you want to change this number right here. If you're in the negatives, uh, you're gonna want to change this. I would say that I was probably at a negative 150 at one time. Negative 150, negative 150 net worth. And so just like looking at that, it's really gonna give you a reality check. And it's gonna want to make you figure out how to change this number. Even if you say, man, you know what? I'll be happy just to be at zero because I don't want to be negative. So it's a good start to say, how do I get out of being negative? So this is one way to start to accomplish that. And let's see how much time do we have here. We're gonna stay on for we'll keep it short for 30 minutes and then we'll continue next week because we're gonna be here for 4 weeks and I want to make sure I give y'all everything. So this, if you want to take a screenshot of this, I can get you a screenshot of it. But so the first step you'll want to do is start to pay down any high interest debt. Uh, you want to start hitting that first. High interest debt, uh, stuff that you can get knock out quick. Try to knock out any high interest debt, short term debt, stuff that you can just kind of like eliminate. Maybe some credit cards. Maybe if you can pay off a car, anything like furniture, anything like that. Try to knock off some of that debt, right? After you knock out some of that debt, you're gonna start to build the momentum of having some extra cash flow, right? So what you're gonna want to do next is you're gonna want to put that into a savings or a mutual fund or something that's gonna have a little bit more interest than just a regular savings account. And typically you want to try to put it separate from your personal account. So you want to have this separate from your day-to-day account because you don't want to have to transfer it. And basically what this is going to do, this is going to be your month. You want to try to cover a monthly expense. For example, if your monthly expense is 3,000, your goal is to save 3,000 in this account. Okay. You're going to save 3,000 in this account. After you get to 3,000, you're gonna get this three and you're gonna move it to this account, another account over here. Okay. Uh, and look, you can have multiple accounts, and we'll get into that later. But with this account, your goal is to have maybe 9,000, maybe even 12,000. So you want to have 9 to 12K in here. Okay, so you're gonna slowly start to build this one up. When you stack up with this one, you're gonna throw it over here. This one, you're not gonna have no debit card. You're not gonna have no checks. You're not gonna have no PIN number. It's gonna be kind of like a ghost account. This is gonna be like the emergency account, and you want to try to stack this one up, right? And what you don't realize here is what's gonna happen is as you start to do this, it's gonna help you build your confidence. You're gonna be more confident at work. You're gonna be more confident within your relationships because you're starting to build a foundation here. You're starting to build a foundation that you're not gonna be able. You're not gonna get broke in 1 month because you have 3 to 6 months reserves here. So technically, you can go without work for a couple months and you can still manage to pay your bills. If you had to change jobs or it got slow or whatever, you'll still have this backup here. And see, what tends to happen is if you don't have a solid foundation, you start to make kind of bad business moves because you kind of get desperate for money. For example, if let's just say someone were to hire you for a job, right? And you have no money, and to do that job, you have to charge $2,500, right? And out of this job, you know that this is going to be a good amount. If you could charge this amount, you'll be good, right? Well, let's just say that you don't have this foundation here, and you're living paycheck to paycheck and you're trying to just figure things out, and someone says, hey, I would like to pay you to do this job, but I don't have the 25. I only have 2,000. And so you need the money really bad because you don't have no foundation. So you do the job. Okay. Now what you did was you just took a loss of 500 bucks because you're desperate. And so they actually just took advantage of you because you're desperate, and now you're gonna work more for less. So you see how it becomes like a pattern, because once you start to get into the cycle of living paycheck by paycheck without building a foundation, you start to get more and more desperate for these jobs. And what happens is they get sloppy, and you're not really proud of the work because you're already taking a loss. So then the job is not 100%, and so now it creates a downhill momentum. With this, you'll have confidence because you don't really need this 25. You can say, look, I'll do the job for 2,500 and it'll be good work. I guarantee it. I'll make sure it comes through. You know, you're backing it up because you know that you really don't really need to do the job, but you're confident that you'll do a good job because you have this reserve. So you can even say, hey, you know what? I tell you what, why don't you pay me when the job is done? You know what I'm saying? So you can start to use those leverages because you have this foundation, versus the guy that's desperate that needs half of the money to start the job. Like, you're going to be in a better position. So once you start to build this up, you start to build the foundation, right? And then you're going to say, well, what if I need to make a big purchase, right? What if we're looking to buy a down payment on a car, or we're looking to buy some new appliances, or so you can create another account for that. This is going to be for the cars, for the toy items, right? The laptop, the new phones, whatever you decide to do with that, right? This one is another one here. So now we have another account, right? So these are called drip accounts, right? So this is pretty stable. Let's just say you're saving up 10 grand because you want to get a down payment on a car or whatever, right? So now you have a goal with this account. So this account, there's 3K in there. There's a 9K or to 12K in here. This is your foundation. Now you're stacking up this little account so you can make a purchase, right? And you can actually have this in an account that's also occurring interest, like like an index fund or a mutual fund that's gonna generate some higher interest. Let's see. Then we have this one. So this is where it gets fun. These two accounts right here. This is where it gets fun because now you have your foundation. You have your account for the major purchase things, right? Now you're saying, okay, you know what? I want to start to throw money in this account. I want to start to play over here with the big boys, right? So these accounts are going to be, the 50K accounts. And I know the numbers sound, kind of big. But it's very possible, guys. It's very possible. These are going to be like for real estate. If you want to get into real estate investing, long-term goals. If you want to travel, say, you know what, I want to travel for a whole year. It's going to cost me 25K. Stack it up in here. Stack it up in here. If you decide not to travel, you can use that for a down payment for a house. Get into real estate investing. You know what I'm saying? You could throw it into an index fund. So this money right here is to make plays, to make bigger plays with it. Hard assets going to be like cash. If you have some cash, you're always going to have leverage because you can play the doubles game pretty quick. And what the doubles games is it's a very popular game played by wealthy people. And the game is they have a foundation, and then they have these accounts over here. And these accounts are just stacking up, and they're either in index funds or mutual funds, but these accounts are stacking up interest. They're getting some money in there, right? And so these accounts are for doubles. And what it is like, let's just say this account, you have 100K in there, right? And it's taking you, 8 years to build it up, right? It's 100K. And you say, okay, you know what? This right here is for it's a hard asset. This is for business. It's for a business move. And let's just say you come across a property that's worth 250, 300,000, right? So the property's worth 3K, but the people are motivated sellers. They're trying to get rid of the property because they inherited the property, and they're just like, man, we just want to get rid of this property. It's a headache. We live in Arizona. The property's in Texas. We don't have no time to deal with it. We just want to dump it. All you gotta say is, hey, you know what? I'll give you 100K for it right now. I'll give you 100K cash money. Let's make the deal. Sign up the contract. Let's make it move. So what's gonna happen is you have speed. So now you buy this property that's worth 3K, and you see how you just doubled your money, you tripled it. So now that 100K that you had turned into 3 because the house is worth 3. And so now you can say, okay, I'm going to sell this house. You know what? I don't want to be too greedy. I'm going to sell it for 200K. You put it back on the market for 200. You just doubled your money right there. That's a doubles game. And so, see, a lot of business owners, they play the doubles games with a bunch of different things. Not just real estate, not just businesses, but they do it with cars. They do it with fine jewelry, art, sports items, whatever they see that can be a double. They play the doubles game, and so see, they're able to do that because they have the foundation over here, and they know this money is risk money. They know that this money is to play with. This money is to invest and this is a hard money right here. This is a hard playing hardball right here, and it takes time. It takes time, but without this foundation, what a lot of people try to do is they try to go from day to day. I mean, paycheck to paycheck. They try to jump. They try to jump over here too fast, and whenever you try to make these big jumps, uh, it's very very risky. And if you're not educated on a lot of this stuff, you'll end up losing. So that's something about the this strategy right here, the wealth building strategy. Let's go to the next slide here. So health and wealth, I'm gonna get more into that. It's already 9. It's already 7. I'll stay on for another 10 minutes. Let me know if this information is valuable, Mike. Well, I think we have some people on YouTube as well. But leave any questions in the comments. This replay will also be on YouTube. Okay, let's see. All right, nice. So look, uh, health and wealth. I'll share with you a story really quick. So I never really took my health uh, very very serious because I was a lot younger. I worked out. I ate the chicken breast. I ate the protein workout. I mean the pre-workout. I mean the protein shakes, and I kind of like just thought that that's what it was. Took multivitamins, and it wasn't until I started to study like really high achievers, and I started to really like pay attention to what they were doing, and I started to ask more questions. And it wasn't until I got into more private rooms with these top producers when I really started like asking them more about their personal health. And a lot of the stuff, I mean, nobody wants to talk about it in public, but if you're curious and you listen and you learn, they'll share with you and they'll tell you what they're doing for their health. And so a lot of these guys are they're on a different level in health. And for example, like A multivitamin, if you're taking a multivitamin pill, that's probably like almost, I think they said like less than 1% of the vitamins you need. It's not really doing anything. Uh, and so how do you determine like what how your body's functioning, right? And so the best way to do that is to get blood work. Get the blood work and have them run tests on your heart, on your brain, on your muscle mass, your fat, um, and really have them break down everything that you're what's going on with your body and make sure it's functioning at a higher level. And a lot of times we think that, hey, I'm healthy, I'm good. I go to the gym, a couple of days a week, but you really want to know like how your body's working. And the reason why it's important is because you know it, it determines everything. Like if your body's not functioning at a peak level, your mind's not functioning at a peak level. And if your mind's not functioning at a peak level, at a good healthy level, then your decision making is not going to be that good. You're going to be slow on certain things. And in business, you want to be at the top of your game. You want to be able to strategize. You want to be able to solve problems. You want to be able to deal with solutions and problems like quick and effectively. And and if not, you're going to be lagging. You're going to be slowing down. Your energy's not going to be there. Your diet's going to be poor. You're gonna, if you're eating a lot of you know unhealthy foods, your body is using a lot of energy just to break down all that food when that energy can be used to solve big problems. So we'll go into that. So look, max out your main income, right? So are you maxing out your main income right now? I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and I asked them. I said, "Hey, are you really maximizing your vehicle right now?" And they said, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, "The thing that's making you money right now, are you making the most money out of that? Like, out of that, out of that career? Can you learn more to be better at that to produce more? Because, for example, like let's just say you're a car salesman, right? And you show up to work and you kind of just go out there and you just greet customers and you say, 'Hey, y'all want to buy a car? Are you interested in a car? Can I help you find something?' And that's all you do, right? And you say, 'Man, you know what? I'm good. I sell 3 cars a month.' Okay. But what if you said, 'You know what? I'm gonna learn how to master sales, and I'm gonna learn how to understand people. I'm gonna learn how to communicate. I'm gonna learn how maybe the financing works.' And so now when someone comes up to you, you already know how to communicate with that person because you have the skills. You develop those skills. And not only did you develop the skills to talk to that person to communicate effectively, but now you have sales skills. So you know how to deal with objectives, right? But on top of that, you know how the financing works. So you're actually having a conversation with them about the financing, and you know the sales part of it. So you now, because you educated yourself and you started to peak out, you started to max out your main source of income. You're selling 10 cars a month because you got better at that. And so a lot of times what tends to happen is someone will start a career or they'll start a job or something, and then they see something else and they start to dabble with that. So what tends to happen is they're dabbling with all these different careers, and they never take the time to master one and to max out the income that's available in that industry. So make sure you're maxing out the income that's available in that industry by educating yourself, getting better at the craft, understanding how that industry works, understanding some of the tricks of the trade in that industry. The hot water money trick. So I took this from the book Profit First, and I'm going to get into that uh, later on. uh, start investing it's something that's going to be very, very low risk. And one of those things is, I'm not like a financial advisor or anything, but index funds are very good about that because they're very low risk, and you can kind of like just keep saving something every week, and it'll start to accumulate. And then whenever you decide what your next move is going to be, you can make that move. And what's good about that is like it's a low risk, right? So what that means is like, let's just say if you're main if let's just use car dealer, right? Car salesman, because I already said that. So let's just say you're a car salesman, right? Car. Let's put car guy. Car guy, right? So you're a car guy, and you're selling 3 cars a month, and you're making a little bit of cash, and you're like, you know what? Uh, I want to get into real estate investing. I want to buy a rental property. Okay. So now you're trying to buy a rental property, right? You're like, man, I'm gonna sell cars and do rental property, right? Okay. So now remember, now you're only selling 3 cars because you decided not to master this sales yet. And then with the real estate, you haven't even you just kind of want to get into it because your friend said he's making money on it, but you haven't learned everything about it. So you say, you know what, I'm gonna start to do this. So you're still dabbling with this. So you're dabbling with this, and then you start to dabble with this. Okay. And so now you have this and you have this. And now you say, oh man, I'm an entrepreneur because I have this job and I'm doing this cash flow and I'm doing like, okay. But what you actually did was you started to dabble. Like you haven't maxed out any of these yet. And so what happens is you start to stretch yourself thin because you never took the time to master any of these. And so you get into this and you start to have problems and you're not sure what to do. So you start to get frustrated and you start to lose money. And then because of this, it's frustrating you. Now, instead of selling 3 cars a month, you're only down to 2 cars because, this is taking up a lot of your time because you're not sure how to manage it. You're not sure if you bought it right. You're not sure how to deal with contractors. And so now you start to stretch yourself thin. If this guy would have said, you know what, let me master this. Okay. So he went from selling 3 cars to selling 10 cars. And this is any kind of sales. Once you master the sales, you're going to sell more. So now he's selling 10 cars. But what he did was he put his extra cash in a low risk fund, right? So now he's focused on this. He's building up here. And now when the opportunity comes, he's able to pull the trigger with more money. Or he's able to say, you know what, I'm going to take some of this money that I have in here and I'm going to take some investment classes. That way, when I buy my first property, I'm still able to do this and not take my attention. Because remember, you only have so much energy per day. And if you're not like really, really healthy and you're not taking care of your body, you're going to drain yourself because you're trying to do all these things. The double game, we talked about that a little bit. The three-step strategy. This is a pretty cool thing, right? So a lot of times we talk about tactic and strategy, right? And so these 3 words are often used misplaced. And what I mean by that is, like, a lot of times we'll say, okay, what's our strategy? Okay, well, look, the proper way to set this up is decide what your goal is going to be. Okay. And then decide what your strategy is going to be to work on this goal, and then decide tactics. And for example, a good example of this would be, let's just say for us, right? We wanted to increase sales. We wanted to drive more traffic, build more relationships. So our goal was to generate more income and build more relationships, right? So our strategy was we had to go meet, I think it was like 5, 6, 7 clients a day, introduce ourselves, build that relationship, track the conversation, and see how it went, right? So that's the strategy. The tactic will be like, okay, what is the tactic that's going to help them do business with us, right? So a different tactic will be, okay, you know what? I want to see if I can maybe take them candies and see if they like that better, right? I want to see if I can maybe have a conversation with them about their family and get deeper with that and build a relationship. Maybe that'll help build the right. So tactics are certain little like things that are going to help you accomplish this goal. So the strategy is, okay, we got to visit 7 to 8. Okay. What are some tactics that we're going to use to do that? Are we going to try to, maybe have a luncheon where we invite 7 to 8 at a time? Maybe our tactic will be, okay, target, dealerships. A tactic will be, okay, let me target HOA community. So those are different tactics. And so the goal the strategy and the tactics. You got to think of it in those three ways, and you'll start to be on your way to starting to do something great. So, how much time do we have here? Okay, I'm gonna stay on for a couple more minutes, and then we'll stop this and we'll continue on the next one. The drip accounts and the profit first system. We're gonna get more into that on the next video because that's gonna be a little bit longer. Leveraging your credit, and so I'm gonna go back here. I'm gonna go back to this, right? So as you're doing this, as you're doing this, to really, you know, maximize the time. I guess I can say to maximize the time it takes you to do this, because this can take you. It really depends on how bad you want it. Honestly, like it really depends on how bad you want to get from let's just say to B. It really determines how bad you want it to 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 get to here, right? So it can take you a year, it can take you 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, however you decide to pursue this. But during this journey, you always want to see if you can focus on building your credit. And so let's just say right here, you're right here, and you have a bunch of debt that's overdue, that collections, and you have a bunch of mess, right? We're in a mess right here. You could still open a secure credit card to start to build your credit. As you're chopping this down, you can still start to build a secure credit card. Start to do that. That way, as you start to climb this ladder, you're starting to build your credit at the same time. Because look, if you pay off all your debt and you get it to here and you're transitioning into this, I'm pretty sure you might be able to get approved for a credit card by then, because you'll have the secure credit card. Then you can transition to a regular credit card, and now you're starting to stack up your credit card game, right? Because as you get from here to here, then you want to really start to build up your credit, and you can start to by getting a credit line increase. You don't want to go out and get a brand new car or anything. You want to try to get maybe like a collateral loan, something to help you build your credit. Even if you want to start off and get uh, uh, if you want to start off and get a secured credit card for like $1,000, $1,500, it's really going to help grow your credit score. And the reason why I say this is because as you start to climb this, get this momentum going, you don't want to get up here and then have zero credit. You want to try to do it at the same time. That way, when you get up here, you have your foundation, and now you also have your credit to play around with, and it gives you more options. Because let's just say you say, I'm going to save 50 grand to go travel, and then you decide you don't want to travel. You want to invest in real estate because a good deal came on the market, but now you don't have good credit, so now it takes you longer because you failed to kind of build up your credit as you started to move up the ladder. And so you always want to kind of focus on both of those at the same time. Uh, but I'll tell you what, we'll finish on the next week. So once again, guys, y'all, I guess before we finish, y'all have any questions? If you have any questions, leave them in the comment on the YouTube. And then if you have any questions, Mike, I can answer any questions. If not, we can continue next week, next Wednesday, and I'll get more into some more stuff that I have. Next week, what we're going to get into is the profit first system. It's going to be a very powerful system if you're self-employed. It's going to be very, very good. Even if you're employed and you get a salary, or you on the hourly clock or whatever, this is going to be a good system to implement. These are going to be a strong money game. Strong money game is really going to be some things that are going to help you hack on your time and save you a lot of energy. We're going to go into some habits, some healthy habits, the different habits, the different ways our mind processes habits, and the way it processes memory. It's gonna be pretty interesting. It's gonna be the habit, little wheel that it's gonna help you to kind of get a grip on your habits and understand how your body functions and why you keep falling into the same bad habits. And then this is some extra stuff that I have from the previous presentation, but Once again, guys, I see y'all next week. Make sure y'all give me a thumbs up on the YouTube. Maybe share the video with someone. See if we can get them to join in for next week. I'll send the link out again. But I appreciate y'all guys' time. Until next week, guys.